and I'm gonna state it as a truth, like a law of nature. um, in other words, you don't get to argue. uh, so let's say you have to build a new chicken coop, um, but you find some plywood on the side of the road, and you have some old 2x4s that were laying in your garden bed over the winter, and you're going to reuse some nails that you found at the transfer station in a box. So you go and you get that chicken coop together. We kind of know that chicken coop isn't going to be a good one based on all those things I mentioned. And it's certainly not going to last long. It might not be strong enough. It might not last long. It might not keep water out. It might not stand up well. In other words, I don't know how soon you're going to know it's not a good one. But the wise person would know right away when you see the collection of materials, like, this is not the way to do it, right? But you might also get a chicken coop and not get PT wood and not use galvanized nails, right? And have 3/8 plywood, something like that. None of this is really particularly wrong, but we also know it's not going to last that long. It's not PT, the stuff that's touching the ground, or marine grade, not galvanized. Those are going to probably rust pretty soon. In fact, the plywood's pretty iffy. The dog run into it once, a little bit of too much wind, you leaning on it, it's not great. So that might last a season or so, but it's not really great. So let's say you go to the high end, Landon lumber, and you get marine grade plywood, marine grade PT, the very best 8-inch, stainless steel screws, brand new ceramic shingles or something, right? Okay. Might as well have like a bay window and a window box, fancy chickens, right? So you get all this stuff together. So we can see, looking at the materials, this is going to be a pretty good chicken coop, right? Your friend comes over to help, who's an arsonist. I don't know if you're going to end up with a great chicken coop anymore. I mean, I see the materials, but I don't know if this guy helping with it, right? Because I have a feeling he's going to come back later. He keeps asking us, so does marine grade burn well or something? Is chicken poop an accelerant? So even if you technically build it right, like having this guy involved, maybe I don't really love the idea of this guy, hanging around knowing how it's built, right? So let's say you get all those great materials, and you have an upstanding friend helping you who's like a carpenter, so great, but you don't have a good plan for building it. You just sketch something on a napkin if you've never built anything from scratch. Again, I see the people helping and I see the materials, but the plan makes me feel like this isn't going to come together. And maybe it sort of comes together, but it doesn't last because of something you misunderstood about the way the lintel works. And maybe, again, it lasts a season. Maybe it kind of holds up overnight and starts to, tip or lean or something like that because, you didn't have a cross brace in the plan or something like that. Or maybe it lasts 2 years, but doesn't really last more than that. So again, having the right people, having the right materials, but not having a good plan doesn't leave me confident that it's going to work out. Let's say a good plan, good materials, good people, but you don't have a good place to do it, right? It's right on the edge of the stream, but we know it floods twice a year, right? Or it's right near where the fox's den is, or it's under the tree that's rotting, and it's probably within a few years that tree's going to drop branches on it, and it's going to be over. Or it's right around the corner of the bend on your property, and every once in a while a car overshoots the turn. And so we have the right people, good plan, great materials, but not a good place. So again, I'm looking at it, I don't feel confident. Even though you have a lot of the things in place, you don't have enough of them in place, right? So we need the place, we need the materials, we need the plan, we need the kung fu. So that's what representing as the people, right? I need the action. If I showed up to your house to help you build a chicken coop and I was like, oh, Chris is here to help. Oh, look at this great material you have. Oh, that's a fantastic spot. You have a foundation poured for it, right? And let me see this plan you ordered online from Chicken Coops R Us, and like that's a primo plan. Like I just feel great about it. Like this is gonna be better than your own house. Like you might want to stay in here some nights, right? Like I have a really high confidence that this is gonna shape up, right? So my guess is that you can't argue with me on any of that. And I could probably go on and come up with another thing that's right. So these are all the ingredients of a project, right? The material, the plan, the work, the place, right? And we could probably think of some others if I want to extend the metaphor. But these are the ingredients. And if any of these ingredients are very insufficient, the whole plan is in question. If any of these ingredients are less than premier, it might work, but it's not the most high end. It's not going to last as very long. It's not going to have as many features, but you could get by. And if any of these are, dangerous ingredients, the whole thing is at risk. And maybe even the people putting it together are at risk, right? So we want to have at least adequate place, adequate materials, adequate help, adequate planning, right? And we kind of hope for even better, right? Or we are patient enough until we can collect all the better things. But at least adequate. I'm not going to fault you. Like that chicken coop's going to last for a few years and that's all you need. Okay. So you were talking to me about your own sort of mental, emotional, psychological, whatever, I don't know what term you might have used, but your own kind of frustrations, depression, anger with the situation, right? So you're talking about your career, you're talking about your health, basically. And then you're saying, I'm annoyed, frustrated, angered, depressed, put upon, overwhelmed about the situation. So I would say to you that while we cannot change all of the outer conditions, like if you live in a house and like the only place the chicken coop can go, the ground's a little bit wet, then you just do the best you can. You definitely get PT plywood, maybe you raise it up a little higher, because not everybody has every right. And if you can't get your friend who's the carpenter help, at least don't invite the arsonist friend over and just have me, the guy who can I can carry some wood over and hold something in place while you screw it in. I probably won't screw it up, but I probably won't help it get better. Like, that's fine. So there's always these constraints when we build things, right? And we can't control the outer conditions often. Fair enough. But what I would do is say to you, what are the ingredients to your project? What are the ingredients to your situation? Mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, whatever it is. What are those ingredients, right? Are you sleeping well, right? Are you eating well, right? So if you're not doing those two things, you can already see like the chicken coop, we can see the person that you're describing is not eating well, not sleeping well. It's going to fall apart. Maybe I can't tell you exactly how, but it's not going to be in good condition when there's a windstorm, when there's a fox trying to get in, when a branch falls on it. Like, right? Fair enough. Eating well, sleeping well, exercising. I think you are in your case, right? Eat, sleep, exercise, rest. So rest is like recreation, right? So it doesn't have to be sleeping, but watching TV, going for a walk, doing something you don't have to do, but it's leisure time, right? These are important and they have to be in balance, right? It doesn't mean just sleep all day. He said sleep, I slept all day, right? Only eat well, that's the only thing I care about. Well, no, you have to exercise, you have to get your sleep, right? But what other ingredient goes into you, right? What's going into your brain? What are you watching? What are you interacting with? right? The news, the internet, right? That is an ingredient that goes into you.
Which I know.
So we started by saying you don't get to argue with me. We know when we show up to build this chicken coop what the ingredients are. And we say he eats well, sleeps well, exercises, good leisure time. Wait a minute. I can already tell you how this project is going to turn out. And you don't get to say, but I do all these, right? What are the ingredients of this project, right? And who is responsible for them?